All right, welcome Realvolve community. This is Mark Stepp. I am the Chief Innovation Officer here at Realvolve, and I just have some really fun things that I want to share with you today. First off, I want to welcome Christian Nossum and his assistant Lillian, and they're online with me, and we're just going to kind of do some interviewing with them. They are from the Awesome Nossum Group in Seattle, and Christian is a Realvolve user. He's been a real estate broker in Seattle, Washington been a real estate agent since 2005.
Yeah.
How long have you had your brokerage itself?
I'm actually a team within a brokerage, so started the Awesome Nossum Group, what was it, about 3 years ago, something like that?
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very catchy name, and I like that.
It was
Uh,
my third
Christian,
grade baseball tryout nickname that stuck, so I just went with it, because there's a lot of other things
that's
that
great.
could rhyme with Nossum, and yeah, this one worked best.
That is great. Well, um, Christian has been in the top 100 of the real estate country on Estately, and also the host of, or one of the hosts at the Seattle Real Estate Radio on KKOL 1300 AM. So I told him earlier that I'll probably be learning some stuff from him afterwards, and he can give me some tips and pointers. But you can watch some of his past shows on SeattleRealEstateRadio.com. So I'll give you some props there. Um, so thank you so much for joining us, for sharing some of the things that have been happening with you in using Realvolve, and kind of just wanted to do an informal but open question answer type thing with you, and kind of go through some stuff. And the first thing I wanted to know was if you don't mind, kind of describe your team layout, like the number of people that you've got, or the roles that you've got on your team, so that people are aware
Mhm.
um, what you're dealing with whenever you're coming into work. So what's that look like?
Yeah, so Lillian is our client care manager. She's essentially our assistant. I actually gave her a goal at the beginning of 2017 to make Realvolve her bitch. And she has taken that role very, very seriously, and she has really completely owned it. And so she really manages all of Realvolve. Yeah, so Lillian is one. Les, he is another agent on the team, so I am also an agent. And then my wife, Shannon, she is a former attorney, now mostly a stay-at-home mom, but she also helps kind of with the big picture, long-term, kind of guiding us along the way. So it's good because I get stuck in the weeds quite often, and she's always there to kind of pull me out and go, hey, look over there, that's where we're trying to go. So it's kind of a four-person team right now.
Awesome.
In terms of the radio show, we have a radio show intern that deals with that stuff too, so we kind of manage him as well. But that's the whole team, kind of four of us, but three full-time people.
Very good. So, and just to let you know, I mean, that is, as far as Realvolve is concerned, I mean, that's the group size that we like to help, because I mean, it's more than just one person. And typically, if you're dealing with one person, they have a certain set of needs and concerns that they have, and whenever you get the smaller team, it really becomes much more productive to have a system like Realvolve to be able to do things. So we really like this 4 to 10 range, and I know that's a broad range, but that's a good setup. So very good. So um, how long have you actually been a Realvolve user?
I think I've been paying for Realvolve for about a year and a half. Didn't actually start using Realvolve until about July, August.
Okay. So, and we had talked about this before, kind of because there was a period in which you weren't really using it. What turned that around? What was it that made you decide, okay, I either need to pay up or shut up or get rid of it or whatever? What was it that changed the thing?
I I was solo just a solo agent, basically. My wife was not really helping much, but I mean, she was, again, big picture, but not really doing the day-to-day. So I was doing it basically by myself. And I think I had done, before I hired Lillian and Les back in August, and they started August 1st, I believe. Before I had hired them, I had been doing everything on my own. And I think I had done 32 transactions by myself year to date from January to August 1st. And I was losing my mind and reinventing the wheel for every transaction, and could not do it anymore. Pretty sure I had a panic attack one day because I was so stressed out trying to get everything done, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, and so it was not good. So I knew I had to do something. I knew that Realvolve was the answer. I just needed to make the time to create the workflows, and actually understand what that meant and how to work them and all of the above. So I knew that using Realvolve would actually buy me a lot of time, which is what I definitely needed, but it was kind of a time investment up front in order to buy me that time. So that's kind of what brought my wife and I to writing, basically developing almost all of these workflows in about 2.5 days.
Okay, so stop right there. This is the part that to me was very intriguing. The 2.5 days. So we titled this particular webinar, no experience required, help wanted, no experience required, and kind of subtitled it with, needing systems and stuff. But you start talking about workflows and the types of things that you do within a workflow, and so many people get hung up on how long does it take, creating these things. So whenever you say 2.5 days, I want to know what did that look like? What did you do to get them done in 2.5 days? I mean, was there prep work done? Was there things that you did ahead of time, or did you just sit down and do them? Just describe that to me, because I'm very intrigued.
So prep work wise, we went through, because honestly at that point, before we wrote them that weekend, we did not even understand how Realvolve worked. So we taught ourselves everything that we needed to know in 2.5 days, including writing the workflows, including writing the templates for the workflows, everything. So prep work-wise, what we did was basically went through each step of every process that we went through and just kind of made a point-by-point checklist. The beauty of Realvolve is that it can branch off, and so we attempted to write that down, which is really hard to write down, but we attempted to write that down as well. So we tried to at least have a big picture overview of where we were going and what we were trying to accomplish for every step that we could possibly be using. So, I mean, on the screen here, I assume they can see the screen. Is that right or no?
They should be able to see my screen, yes.
Okay. So yeah, so they can see your screen. So you see all of our workflows there. So we have some for buyers that are actively looking. We have some for our home buyer classes. We have some for buyers after closing, like once they actually got their keys. Different time frames for a buyer. So some buyers can close in 15 days, some 20, some 30. We have workflows for almost everything. And so we went through and basically tried to create an overview of what each title of a workflow would be. Then and that was all prep work. Then during the 2.5 days, what my wife and I did was we rented a hotel room in Mukilteo, Washington.
You rented a hotel room to get work done.
Yes.
That's a little bit unusual. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's the opposite. We have 2 kids, so that was part of the reason why we got a hotel room and not doing it at home. And we also knew we were going to be doing this nonstop all day. So we got a hotel room right on the water, right next to a ferry terminal, and we knew that there were restaurants and stuff right next door. So what we did is we sat in the lobby of the hotel, and whenever we would space out, we could just kind of stare off into the distance, look at the beautiful water, watch a ferry pull into the dock, all the cars getting off, all the people walking off. So it was something to look at because we were literally going to lose our mind, which we kind of did in these 2.5 days at times. Now not to sugarcoat it at all, because it was very, very hard work. But within these 2.5 days, we really went through and wrote every single template email that went out. We wrote descriptions of every workflow so that we could hire someone. And at the time that we did all this, we didn't have Lillian. We didn't have a Lillian. We didn't have anybody else. It was just us. So we did this in July, knowing that we were going to be hiring someone soon. And then we basically just went through, and after knowing every single step, every single workflow, then we went through, wrote all of the templates. It was a few hundred templates. So she would kind of take care of one, I would do another one, we would do it simultaneously. Whenever we came up with a hiccup or a question, we would kind of work it out together, figure it out, and that kind of, well, I gotta say this too. We bought Kendall's workflows, and we based ours off of those. She has a similar style, tone of voice to me, kind of laid back, not super business professional like. Obviously, I swear I don't do that in the emails, but it's much more laid back. I'm in Seattle. That's how we are here. So I used hers as kind of a template, something to base it off of. And then we kind of just switched up the verbiage here and there just to put it in my own voice. And my wife has read so much of what I've written over the years that she kind of understood my own voice as well. So we did this probably 12 to 14 hours a day for 2 straight days. And then the third day, we wrapped it up in about half a day. And then we reined it.
Gotcha. So when you were designing those, and this kind of goes back to the title of this, were you designing this, the different workflows and stuff, with the thought in mind of no experience required? I mean, did you know at that point you were going to hire an assistant at some point, and you wanted to be able to do this, or did that just happen?
No, we knew we had to hire someone, so it was written with the intent that someone could literally, that had no experience in real estate, could sit down, and once they understood Realvolve, once we trained them on Realvolve, they could do the steps even though they don't necessarily know what the heck they mean. Even though they don't know what earnest money is or any of that stuff, all they have to do is click the box and say send, and it sends the email. And so that was really a beneficial part, because it enabled us to hire someone that was super smart. I'm gonna totally pump you up right now, Lillian. Super smart, super cheery, super organized, but unfortunately didn't have, well, not really unfortunately, but didn't have any real estate experience. So someone that we could put in and just run the business basically without really knowing what the heck she was doing necessarily. But it didn't matter because it was already pre-written. She didn't need to understand it. Thankfully, she's smart enough, and she does understand it over time, and she's learned a ton since then. But it was very, I don't know, you tell me. I mean, you didn't really have to, I didn't really sit down and like train you how each transaction worked or anything like that.
No, because, I mean, it was all predefined. So I would have questions about, hey, so what does this mean? But it didn't stop me from being able to step into the role and immediately close the deals. There was not a time where we had to sit down and really train before I could actually take the reins. It was an automatic transition. It didn't slow us down in our business.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And really, whenever we designed Realvolve, one of the things that we wanted to have is a tool that could do this. And what's so exciting, and I've told Kendall this, I've told several different people this that have taken the workflow platform itself and really made it what it is you know, for them is, you know, the power of it has that ability. So what I typically ask in this type of environment is, was there, with working in those workflows and creating this stuff, was there any kind of aha moment that you had whenever you were designing or building those workflows that was causing you maybe that roadblock between the time prior to using Realvolve consistently and the point at which you started using it? Was there that aha moment that helped you build them better or build them at all? Does that
honestly,
question make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense. It was really, once we started just digging into it and doing it, it started to click. And you really, and I think that's, I mean, you tell me, because she's, again, I gave her a goal at the beginning of the year to make Realvolve her bitch, and she did, and she's really, I mean, she's been on since August, and she's, since August, really, she's been continuously tweaking them, the workflows, the templates, adding different tasks. She's created her own client care manager activity workflow that essentially just reminds her what to do on different days of the week, different days of the month, end of the week, all these different things where, again, she doesn't have to think about it. It just says, oh, you're supposed to do this today. Do it. And it just, she's done a great job of tweaking these. And I think, again, just doing it is what gets you into it and creates that aha moment. You have to just dig in and start doing it. It really helped having Kendall's, because I could look at hers and kind of follow through step by step what the whole workflow was like and go, okay, well, 0 days after start date, which is basically immediately, these are the tasks that happen. And then this is the emails that go out because of this. And these are the tasks that, or this is the checklist that has to happen. And just going through one little thing at a time and going and thinking about it and going, okay, yeah, that makes sense that you're supposed to do this all on essentially day one. And then 3 days later, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And then 5 days later, you got to do another set of steps. So for anyone that's trying to learn how and where to start, I'd say that's kind of a great way to start. Start looking at some of the workflows that other people have written that are free. If you've already bought Kendall's, they're amazing. Highly recommend that. Because you can really start to get that. That's how I created the aha moment. I actually just dig in there and just look through it and think through it step by step.
I had an aha moment, which was a big one for me. He had to do it all in 2.5 days, right? So it was a little different for him getting to know Realvolve. And for me, I had the leisure of going through the workflow tutorial and going through the 30-day onboard training, which I'm very grateful to Realvolve for those resources. They're incredibly helpful. And I did have an aha moment when I was reading through the workflow tutorial, which was, I understood what a workflow was. I knew what it was supposed to do. But what I didn't understand was that you build it to be associated with a contact, a transaction, or what's the third? Contact, transaction. Property. And that had not clicked with me yet. And so I was a little confused of how does it actually work? How do you actually build it? And having the workflow tutorial and going through and seeing it step by step, that was my aha moment of getting, you can build any process. You can systemize any process. You just have to understand how to orient it around a contact, a property, or a transaction.
Yeah. And I will say, too, that we definitely, that 2.5 days, we were consistently looking at the onboard training, looking at all the support that is already built in there. We didn't just figure this out on our own. I actually printed out a ton of the support stuff so that we could flip back and forth and wrap our heads around it. And, yeah, it was a crazy 2.5 days, I will say that. But it was totally worth it because since then, the business has just skyrocketed, and it's saved me so much time, and it's made our business much better. The customer experience is vastly improved just because I don't have to reinvent the wheel, and I don't go, oh crap, I forgot to do that, because every step is now systemized. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't go at night and wake up in the middle of the night freaking out anymore going, oh no, I totally forgot to do this or that, or did the earnest money get deposited, or whatever. I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's all there.
That has been my biggest goal for everybody that uses workflows, is making sure that whenever you get done at the end of the day, you've looked at your dashboard, you've looked at the things that you need to do, and you've checked off everything in that list. And by the time you leave your office that day, you know that everything's gotten done, and so that you can be home with your family, with your kids, or whomever, and know that you can be with them 100% and not have to worry about those things that have been left undone. So that is, to me, that is awesome Nossum. Lillian, whenever you first got hired and came on, Was there, in your opinion, I know we kind of talked about it just a little bit, did you have a huge learning curve just to use the things that were already set up? I know there was some learning for the workflow itself, but just the day-to-day stuff, was it any kind of major challenge to you?
Honestly, it was pretty easy to dive in, especially because Realvolve does have such fantastic support. I kind of just dove in right away and started running the workflows because they had built everything. It was ready to go. If I had questions along the way, I reached out to the support on Realvolve and I always got an automatic response. I had the resources and the tutorials to back me up. I mean, I won't lie, the first day I logged into Realvolve and I looked at it, I was like, what is this? Like, I saw the widgets. I'm like, I don't know what these things are. I don't know what they're supposed to do. I was a little intimidated, but it didn't take me more than probably a week or two to kind of feel more comfortable navigating Realvolve. And I was a little scared at first, like, what if I hit a button and I mess everything up? What if I hit a button and it's not fixable? But I realize now that everything is fixable, and Realvolve is really built for you to be able to build it. You can customize it. You can go in and do so many different things. So yeah, I mean, it was a learning curve, but it didn't take me long to dive in and start using those workflows right away.
Very good. So when we talked last, you had talked about your role now is taking some of the existing workflows that are there, massaging them and tweaking them to be better. What are What's that like as far as are you creating your own workflows now and doing it yourself?
Well, I'm doing a couple different things. I'm creating workflows that are brand new, and I'm also updating and revising the ones which Christian and his wife built. And kind of the way I see it, which is we chatted about this before, is Realvolve in a sense is a brain. So Christian's brain is overloaded. And he knows how to do things. He has a system, but that system is in his brain.
Yeah.
So my job is to watch him, observe him, see how he does things, write it down, and then once I've written it down and figured it out, I can add those extra steps which maybe he, didn't build into the workflow because he didn't think about it or whatever. I mean, even subtle things. If it saves 5 minutes, if it saves 3 minutes, I see him doing it over and over again. I think, let's build that in. And he'll see it too. He'll suggest if we have a real life, transaction and something happens where there's a hiccup, he'll say, hey, I know how we can fix this for next time. Will you add this step to that workflow?
I mean, even just this morning at our morning meeting, that exact same thing happened. I think I asked you to put, I mean, we were kind of going through what happened yesterday, what were the steps that we did, who'd you talk to, all the normal stuff that we go over every morning. And I was like, hey, you know what? It would be easier if I didn't have to think about this, and you didn't have to think about this. So let's just throw it in the workflow.
Right.
We know we got to do it. Let's just throw it in there, even though it's super small. But it's something that would make us better, basically. And it's not hard to throw it into a workflow. I mean, it's easy.
I think that's one thing that's beautiful about about the workflows too is it's not like you have to make it perfect the first time. If you make it and it works for a while, but then you need to change it to make it more current or more relevant to the market situation, you can go in and change it. It's easy. It's so easy. So that is the big thing for us. It's a constant thing. It's an everyday thing. Realvolve's our brain. It's our machine. How can we keep making it better and more efficient for us?
Very good. So, Christian, as a business owner and as a real estate professional, you invested the time to do this. Are you seeing the effect of what this does? I mean, are you sleeping better, and how's that look? What does that look like?
Definitely sleeping better at night. I don't have to worry about anything anymore. Again, the workflows are built. All I do is trust that Lillian is going to take care of it because she knows how. It's not hard. I mean, she literally came from a completely different field. And when I hired her, she was 22. She's now 23. She had no real estate background whatsoever. Just moved to Washington State a week prior. I mean, she just had no clue about what she was getting herself into, and now she's running a business, basically. And it's fun. It's awesome.
That is awesome. So going back to Lily, the workflow, and I think I'm on the one that you use on a daily basis. Can you kind of describe what you use this for and why?
So we have processes, certain things that happen on certain days of the week, certain things that happen every day. And instead of me having to have a printed sheet and go through the sheet every day and check things off, I thought, what if I just build a workflow and use the checklist feature to remind me, every Wednesday we do a little Facebook game where we post a picture online and people make a guess of where it is and then they get a prize. So I don't forget to do that small task, I built that into the checklist for my Wednesday. Or every Friday, I make sure I confirm all the appointments for the weekend and the appointments for Monday. And I don't want to forget that, but I don't even have to worry about it because Realvolve tells me on Friday, make sure you schedule the appointment. So if you look through, you can see the list of everything I do on Wednesdays, the list of everything I do on Fridays, and it takes the guesswork out of it. There's not the anxiety of thinking, did I miss something? Did I miss something? I have that prompt. And yeah, this is a great one. I mean, I use this workflow is rolling constantly. It's every day it's rolling for me.
Very, very good. That's a great way of using that. And I do appreciate the thought we talked earlier, just a little bit earlier, about at the end of a transaction, kind of doing a post-mortem, or what went right, what went wrong, and then adjusting that. Kendall talks about that a lot, about making sure that after every closing, you really discuss and think about what went right, why it went right, but also the what went wrong. And those are even more important. So if it went wrong this time, could it go wrong again? And if it could, then can we do something to prevent that from happening? And put that into the workflow, or is there something that I need to email this certain person for whatever reason, and maybe make a branch or something based off of some conditions and stuff. So that is just an awesome way of doing that. So good job on that.
Real quick, how often in daily life do you use the word awesome, and how much more today during this webinar?
Well, I'm using it more and more. The way it is, I started, typing in some questions and thinking about, oh, that's awesome, awesome Nossum. Oh, just get into that. So I do use that word an awful lot, and my wife has made comments before. So we do have some questions. Actually, I do have one more before I go to the questions. And guys, everybody that's attending, if you've got specific questions or whatever, go ahead and start typing those in, and we're going to go into this kind of a question-answer type period and see if we can cover most of these. We may not be able to cover them all, but whatever we can, we will. What advice would you give somebody that is wanting to automate their business using workflows? I mean, what is the biggest advice that you could give somebody?
One, just do it. It's gonna take some time, but it's going to save you so much more time in the end. And you're going to, every day after you do it, after you take the time to actually set it up, you're going to thank yourself, because your life gets a lot less stressful after it's up and running. So just dig in, look at some of the workflows that you can purchase that are already pre-written. Maybe buy them. I mean, that's kind of what I did. I got Kendall's. Looked over them all, liked a lot of the things. Some of them didn't apply because I'm not in the same state as her, but yeah, and then just kind of worked off of those and reconfigured them so that they made sense for us. But it really helped having kind of that base knowledge and that base workflow already there, so that I can just work off of that.
Okay, and I know Lillian uses the client care piece. Is there one that you use that's not something that you do, but Lillian, but that you use that kind of is your I don't know, your crown moment, the one that you like the best, that you use the most of, besides the client care one? So one that we could maybe show an example of that just really helps you the most within your business through a process or something. And I mean, you've got you've got almost 30 different workflows. I don't know if you guys can see this. I mean,
Look
got a
at
whole nother page of them as well.
look at
Um,
look at housewarming party.
Second to the bottom there.
Yeah.
Housewarming party. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a good
So,
example. So whenever we have a client that closes after they've moved into their new home, we love to throw them a housewarming party and, take some food, take some drinks, take some balloons, take some cupcakes, and meet their friends, meet their neighbors. It's a great thing, and we enjoy doing it. But there's preparation that you have to do, sometimes, 6 weeks in advance. We make invitations, we mail them out to their friends, we order food in advance, and I have made this workflow to just kind of keep me on track in the months leading up to that date to make sure I don't forget anything. So I think this is a good example of something that, Realvolve was able to make, even though it's not a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, sending paperwork or working with other agents. It's something that just we use. And it's helped us a lot to stay on track and not have little things slip through the cracks and at the last minute be like, oh no, we forgot to get the helium tank for the balloons because there's a checklist and helium tank's on the checklist.
very good. Okay. Nice. Yeah, this is, some of the things that people have created workflows for, it blows my mind. I mean, I never thought about, different things, but the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, if it's something you do more than once, it could be a checklist. It could be a workflow that really helps save you time and effort and make sure that those things don't fall through the cracks.
And the other thing that I think is kind of nice about it is it makes it easy if, say I'm sick one day and Christian has to step in and run the Realvolve workflow for me. In the notes, for every activity that exists, you get to write a note describing that activity. I'll put things in, so like if I have to order postcards, in the note of that activity, I'll put the name of the website, I'll put in my login username, my password, and exactly the type of postcard, the quantity, and the shipping method. It's all there. You don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to look in your sent messages from your last time you ordered it to see how many you sent. It's pre-written. So it saves valuable minutes. Even if it's just 2 minutes, it saves Christian or saves me. We don't have to dig through stuff we've done before to find it if it's already set up.
Yeah. As long as you track it once, you don't have to worry about it ever again.
Very good. So here's another question. Do you apply the workflow to their personal contact, like Facebook ad reminders that was mentioned? I'm not sure about that one. But do you apply the workflows to your personal contacts? People that maybe aren't business related, but just personal contacts.
Yeah, we can. And I know that we do happy hours and stuff like that for, some of them are past clients, some of them are business owners, vendors that we work with, stuff like that. So we have a workflow for that. Like, what do we do? When do we do it? What are the steps? You easily could. I don't know if we do for, I don't think we do for like personal contacts. I mean, we have a birthday reminder and stuff like that, and we have a workflow to say what to do for a birthday and all that stuff. But
I think that's where tags comes in, because we do keep track of everybody, whether it's an agent we've worked with, whether it's an escrow officer, whether it's a past client, whether it's a local business owner we've done work with, and the tags are huge. Because every time something happens or every time we've had an interaction, real estate radio, for instance, he does a radio show. So whenever someone comes on the radio show, I create a contact for them in Realvolve. I tag them Seattle Real Estate Radio. And then when we have a happy hour for business owners, I can use that tag, look at everybody, send out a mass email, and invite them, hey, we're having this event, why don't you join us? So the tags, if you ever look at the tags, you'll see how many we leverage to keep track. Also, housewarming parties. If we met someone at a party and they said, hey, I want to buy a house, I put them in Realvolve and I tag them, the Robertson's housewarming party 2017. So I know where we met them. It's a great way to keep track of your leads. Where did they come from? Did they come from Yelp, Party, online? And the tags are great for that too. I would say if you have Realvolve, don't overlook the beauty of the tags and how you can generate CSVs using tags.
Yeah, they're powerful.
Very good. Had one question here about quick overview of how you set up the checklist. And I can do that real quick, but the ones that she has set up here, guys, for the monthly checklist, I'm just going to edit one of these. In this particular case, when you have an activity, you're specifying the monthly checklist, who's supposed to do it. If there is another interested party, and probably for this one, there's not, it's just whoever it's assigned to. When is it done? 0 days after the start date, so it's just based off a start date, no big thing there. But the checklist themselves, you simply click into the checklist area here, type in what you want to add as a checklist, press enter, and it adds it to the list. You can rearrange the list, you can delete items from the list. But what happens then is whenever you start this workflow and on whatever day it's due, that activity shows on your calendar, or it shows in your to-do list, you go to check it off, it'll pop up a little box that says, here's the checklist, update the VIP list and VIP tags, update the top 50 list. So as you complete those, you check them off. If the entire list gets checked off, then that one activity goes away. You don't have to worry about it anymore. But if you haven't completed everything on that checklist and you close that checklist, it stays there. It's not complete.
No.
Let something be left undone and not know about it. It stays there. So that's all a checklist is on an activity, and you can create multiple. In this case, she's made special checklists for things she does on Friday, Wednesday, Monday, and making sure that each of her days of the week or monthly things are done accordingly, so that whenever they need to get done, they get done. So, great question, Tom. But that's what she did. Okay, so, and I had this question for you guys whenever we were doing the initial round of questions and stuff. What does the beers in your workflow mean?
Well, as a group, we're required to drink a certain number of beers every week. And no, I'm just joking. No, we do homebuyer classes, and they're called beers and home buying classes. So we're in Seattle. We like beer. We like coffee. And so that's how we attract people to come to them. So that's all that is.
Very good. Can I see more on how you labeled them? Can you go through the list? I'm not sure exactly what that means. The list of workflows?
Yeah, I mean, AN just means Awesome Nossum. So the reason we did that was just because we did buy Kendalls and they were labeled digs and then described what it was. So this was just an easy way to say, hey, these are ours. These are the ones we've already done. Yeah, you can see right there. So, yeah, and then we had imported some other ones at some point, but we don't really use those. Yeah. But yeah, we just went through and we just labeled them for our group and then said, okay, well, what exactly is this? Is this dealing with a buyer? Is this dealing with the seller? Is this dealing with the listing? Is this dealing, what is it dealing with? And then just made a tag or labeled it based on what exactly it was.
That is
excellent. Whatever makes sense for you is the way to do it.
Yeah, Kendall, there's a question here. Who is Kendall? Kendall Young is one of the broker owners of Diggs Realty in Glendale, California, but she's also one of our team members, and she has been a great resource for a lot of different people. And if you guys don't know her, you really ought to get to know her.
She is amazing, and she runs an amazing business, and it's very similar setup. I've kind of mimicked her with, you can really hire anyone off the street to run it when you have your workflows set up. And the workflows that she created, she will sell, and so you can actually purchase those through Realvolve. And so you can just basically buy her workflows exactly how she's running her business right now and implement them into your own. So you don't have to start from scratch. And that's what we did. We bought hers, we made them our own, but we kind of initially started off using hers, and then we've added more and more over time, just as we've done more and more different transactions and different things that make sense to have a workflow for. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Very good. Here's a question. What are the 3 workflows I should start with?
Well, whatever you do more than anything. So if you work with buyers a lot, have a buyer escrow. Like once you get a contract, that would be the #1 one that I would do. So once you get a contract, what are all the things that you got to do, starting from day one, getting mutual acceptance or whatever you call it in your state, to getting their keys and write down every single step and make it a workflow. That was a big one that we use a lot. And then if you do listings, a lot of listings, the same exact thing. So you can start with listings. Like the first time a seller reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I'm interviewing agents, like to meet with you," or "Hey, I want to hire you to sell my house," you can have a workflow for that. Like from the first time you meet with them, with a checklist of all the items that you bring, to I mean, really anything marketing-wise that you do. Okay, well, 3 days before you want to make sure the signpost gets up and the sign is installed, and 1 day before you got to make sure you drop off the flyers and you have a key box and the little shoe booties and whatever else you got to do. You can write all those things into a workflow so you don't have to think.
How did you set it up? Christian set it up so that when people sign up on his website for more information, they fill out a form, I'm interested in more info, and then you use Zapier, right?
Yeah, so anytime someone fills out a form on our website now, we did a Zap or Zapier, I don't know how the hell you say it, but
Zapier
we use that to... Zapier?
Zapier
Yes.
makes Zapier.
Zapier, okay.
It took me a while to figure that out.
We set it up. Okay, good. Thank you. Now I know. So they basically create a link between anything and Realvolve, almost anything in Realvolve. So we use, I think it's called formable forms or gravity forms or something like that. We use those to, when anyone ever fills out a form on our website, that's what it uses. Zapier makes you happier. So it automatically generates it and links it into Realvolve.
So I don't even have to make the contact. I don't have to go in and say, this person, that's their name, that's their email. They're automatically generated and they're automatically put on a workflow.
Yeah, and you can make the workflow start immediately.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do anything. So even if someone signs up, I believe, actually I'm pretty sure I've done this, where someone signed up off an ad on Facebook and they can immediately be entered into Realvolve with the workflow started, and Lillian never even knew. All she does is go, oh, okay, well, this is a new lead or a new client, potential client.
And that saves so much time because, I mean, if you have a lead, you want to get in touch with them as quickly as you can.
Immediately.
And every hour you waste, that's hours they can be looking for someone else. And if they're automatically generated and automatically get an email, they're getting a touch automatically. You're not wasting time getting back with them.
So that's huge. I mean, there's studies that have shown if you reach out to someone within the first 5 minutes of them reaching out to you, I think you get a 98% response. And if you're after 5 minutes, it's like a 60% response rate or something. I don't remember what the stats are, but it's a remarkable difference. And if you're like an hour after, it's like a 3% response or something. It's kind of crazy. So having it automatically do that for you is key.
Very good. Good job on that. The question, approximately how many workflows do you currently have? I counted 30. So, they have 30 at least available there, and making sure that things flow much better. Let's see. Is there any templates that are applicable or tailored to Canada?
Not in mine.
Templates of workflows. You really need to make sure that whenever you're creating your workflows, they are appropriate to the area that you're doing. And I don't know if we've got any workflows or templates that are specifically designed for Canada. That's a great question, but definitely create some and put them into a package. I mean, those available.
I used Kendall's, and they were tailored to California, which obviously I'm in Washington, I'm in Seattle, so they weren't perfect, but I got the gist of what she was trying to say and how it applies to me, and then I just tailored it and tweaked it a little bit to apply to me. So I'm sure you could do the same thing for Canada, because it's probably not too much different. I mean, it's going to be differences, but you get the basics, and then you can tweak it to make sense for you.
Very good. Here's one that says, kudos to Christian. His assistant, Lillian, don't know her name, talks and includes we as part of the team. So just kudos for using we
We're a great team, and Realvolve makes us a stronger team.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's see. Sorry, it was not clear. Okay, so this was probably part of a previous one. Does the administrative assistant assign a contact workflow to themselves or as an independent or an individual contact? Does the administrative assistant assign a contact workflow to themselves or is it an independent? Okay, so whenever you're starting a workflow, yes, you have the ability of doing either one. So on these workflow items that she does on the with part of them here, she has it assigned a workflow contact, so she could actually start this workflow on her own contact record. Do you do that? Is that what you do? You pull up your own contact? Okay.
Yep, that's what I did. I assigned it to myself, and I'm also the one who's assigned to each task. But I mean, you could make up a fake contact and assign it to them. It really doesn't matter how you want to do it.
Yeah, and when we built ours too, we kind of we knew that we would be adding more people to the team eventually, and so we didn't say it's to a specific person like Lillian Hopson. We said client care manager or transaction coordinator or whatever they were, and that's how we labeled who the task was. And then when in each contact, or I guess each contact, you can say who is what. So you can say that Lillian is the transaction coordinator. She is also the client care manager and marketing assistant, all these different things, closing coordinator. I mean, she's all these different things, and if we hired someone else and now we were going to take that off of Lillian's plate and add it on to someone else's, they're already assigned to that position, so we can quickly just say, now, new person is also called the closing coordinator.
Yeah, and that is its intended purpose. You guys did that perfectly. We wanted to make sure that the workflows themselves could be used within teams that you might have multiple listing agents or multiple, if it's a huge team, you might have multiple closing coordinators. I mean, you might have multiple people handling it. So whenever you start it, at the time you start it, you can pick whichever closing coordinator or assistant or whatever it goes along with. So that's using those roles as opposed to an individual person is real important.
Yep.
Going back to our question about the tags and how you were using those, there was one comment here about can't you have a bazillion tags and lose track of them?
I regularly audit my tags. So for instance, I might make a tag and then a week or two later I actually recreate the same tag by accident. So once a month I go through and I merge tags that are so similar that they can be merged. If you look through the tags, you can see that we have some things that are kind of along the same line, and I'll clean them up. I'll make sure every month that the tags are relevant. And the cool thing was when I first started using Realvolve, I always added tags and removed them manually, but now I'm getting the hang of building those into the workflows of at certain points with certain actions we remove or we add tags. But yeah, I think that just keep it clean. I mean, you have to go through and keep it up to date, just like a car. You do maintenance on your car, and that's good because it keeps you very aware of what you have. Because if you go through and just look at the tags and merge ones that need to be merged or delete ones that you're not using anymore, then it's not overwhelming and you know clearly what you have.
Do you have a list of all the tags and what they mean too, like a Word doc or something?
Yeah, I keep a list of all the tags, what they mean, who they should be applied to, and that's great for, at what point we would bring someone new to the team if we continue to grow. There will be a foundation for them.
See, I didn't even know.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I figured, hey, you probably should if we don't, so I'll ask the question.
Yes.
That shows how little hands-on.
Yeah. And this next question kind of goes along with that. Is there anything you wish you knew or wish you could have done when you actually started using Realvolve that you know now or do now? I mean, is there anything that comes to mind real quick that you wish you would have done or you
other than start sooner? Because it would have saved me so much time and stress. because it does seem very overwhelming when you first start, because you look at that dashboard and you're like, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. I don't know what a workflow is. I don't know the difference between that and a template and a dashboard and all these things. I don't know what's what. So again, I wish I would have just looked at a template or worked at a workflow that was already created. And you can go in there and you can download ones that are free. You can purchase some. So I would have taken someone's that was probably free initially and just gone through and started understanding and wrapping my head around each step, each checklist, each step of the process and going, okay, well, does this make sense? Would this save me time? Is this the same way I would do it? If it's not the same way that I would do it, how do I figure out how to do that? And just start. You don't have to do it in 2.5 days and go crazy like I did. You can do it slowly over time and just build one workflow at a time, and maybe it takes you a week or two to do it, but do one during a transaction. Maybe just start out and start going through, and as you're helping one buyer go through the process of buying a house, write down every single step, and really every single step, like email questions that you get during the transaction. Throw those in there as a way to, instead of being reactive to the client, you can be proactive and say, hey, this is what to expect this week. And that's kind of what we did. So for, you can see our AN buyer escrow 30-day. So that's just a 30-day closing for a buyer. We have in there, it's every week we have an email that goes out and we say, hey, this is week 1 of the transaction. Congrats, you just got your house or your offer accepted. Here's what you need to do this week. Here's what we're going to do this week. Here's what to expect. If you have any questions, reach out. But it made us much more proactive and really cut down, cut down on the reactive, which is what I was previously. And people don't really like reactive. People like proactive. They want to know that they've hired someone that is a pro, that knows what's going on, and is really going to walk them through the whole process. And that's really what Realvolve has enabled us to do without really even having to think about it. Again, I wrote them all in 2.5 days, and now I don't have to really think about it anymore.
Right. Very good.
And it's really enabled to, I mean, our growth as a company has just skyrocketed because I have so much more time now to focus on trying to prospect and get more business versus reacting to all the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, and that's what a good tool should do for you. Have it be productive enough for you so that it frees you up to do what you're supposed to do as a real estate agent. That's build the relationships and get more prospects and do the things that the software can't do.
Yeah, and this is why I was willing to pay whatever it was for Kendall's workflows up front, because I quickly realized, once I started to think about it a little bit more, I quickly realized, okay, yeah, this isn't cheap. I think it was $600, or I don't remember what it was. I don't even know what they are now, $1,000 or something like that for all the workflows. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of money. But, yeah, it's a lot of money, but how much time is that saving me? What's my hourly wage? How much more money is that going to make me? And once I did that math, it was super easy choice to just go ahead and do it.
There's a question here. It goes along that line. How did you know which workflows you wanted to buy from her, and was there an example? Now, on Kindle's workflows, they are you can buy a few of them onesies at a time. I'll say it that way during certain periods. But she sells the entire package. It's like $600 for the entire package, and it's a whole lot cheaper to buy it that way than to buy them in onesies.
And that is what I did. I bought
so,
a whole fleet of her digs workflows, and it was easily worth that because that saved me a ton of time and just made the process so much easier.
Okay. Here's another question which I can answer, but you guys might want to. How do you know when, they're brand new to Realvolve, how do you know when to make a workflow to attach to a transaction or a person or whatever?
I'll let you go with that one. That's right up
okay,
here.
So, yeah, if a if it's dealing with a contact and there is no property involved, if it's a lead, if it's a past client, you don't really have to do anything with the property or the transactional information, then it's just a contact. It's a contact workflow. If it has anything to do with a listing from the time, maybe pre-listing all the way to the time that you've got a contract on something, right up to that point, that's a property workflow. And the reason why we break them up is it deals with certain fields that you may want to use in your merge fields for templates. In the checklist, there's merge fields, and we have to know where are you wanting to pull these fields. So we can't just I guess we could have, but it would have made the list just extremely long of, how do you do certain things with certain fields, and you've got to make sure that you've got the fields available. So if you're wanting to create a workflow that deals with your properties, your listings, it's a property workflow. If you have anything to do with, once you've got the buyer all the way to close or post-closing even, you can deal that as a transactional workflow. So just making sure that you group them in those three groups is the intent there, making sure that the fields that you need within that workflow apply to the area that you're going through.
Our housewarming parties, which we were talking about earlier, so he was saying if it's associated with a transaction, a transaction, we closed the deal, this person bought a house, the deal is closed. So the housewarming party workflow is associated with a transaction. So I apply that workflow to that transaction, that property, that house, and it's already form-filled with the merge fields buyer, so buyer contact greeting, the person who bought the house, and then they get the email, hey, can't wait for your housewarming party, do you have a table or do we need to bring one, So that's an example of how I knew to associate that workflow with the transaction versus with the contact.
And I think that was actually an aha moment for me, what you just kind of explained, Mark, where you go, okay, well, a transaction is for X and a property is for when you're doing Z and, that kind of stuff. Once I wrapped my head around that, then I went, oh, okay, now this is starting to make sense. So if you haven't already, Mark, written that down in super simple terms, probably be helpful.
That might be a good one. Oh, I think that's in that document, the workflow document, but we'll double check that just to make sure.
Even if it was just a super one-page, this is what this is, that might help, because I know it took me a while to understand that. Even though I had read it a few times, once I got it, that was a huge aha.
Great. There's a couple different questions about the workflows and prices and stuff like that. Just to let you guys know and where you can get them. Whenever you're in the workflows area, you click on the little plus to add a new workflow. We do have an option here for add workflows from the library. If you select that and click on continue, that opens up this entire list of workflows that are available that you can pick and choose from. We've got some of them that are public. Those are free ones. Some of them that are premium ones where you need a code of some sort, which typically means you have to buy them, but not necessarily. It could be a coaching club or something like that you have availability to. But so like the digs, and we've got some here for the Digs Complete Suite. You can buy this entire thing. Every workflow has a different price, a different person is making this available. We at Realvolve, besides Kindle, we don't sell these. These are from other people. These are other users that have created these packages, and they can charge whatever they want to for them. Kindles, she used to sell them for $1,100, and even at that, it was worth the money. But because she's part of our team now, we're selling for $5.99. So not all of them have prices on them. Some of them you have to visit their website. We do have an area where you can, click on or find a phone number or something for some of these people, like Main Street. There's just different ones where they've got some information on them. So I encourage you to take a look through these. Oh, Mark Boylan, he's out of the New York area, and he's got some extremely detailed workflows that are great that his assistant created for them, and he gave them to her, and she put them all in, and they sell those, as different packages and stuff. So all of them are different. All of them are priced differently. Just look through them and figure out if any of them, are something you're looking at, and then contact that person. Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of liken what you're looking at right now and what you're describing to an app store for workflows. And that's really kind of what it is. I mean, you guys don't necessarily have anything to do with them other than the fact that they're available through Realvolve, but you're actually buying them from someone else, a third party.
Right. Well, we learned real quickly, and I've been doing this for a long time. I learned real quickly that, as a computer person, I am not a real estate professional, and I don't talk the way you talk. So creating content for you guys is not really something you want a computer person necessarily doing for you. But if another real estate agent puts it together, it's at least in real estate terms. It's geared for that business, and the things that we would create for you. I know there's a lot of companies out there, a lot of CRM companies that create content, but the people that I talk to that they start to use them, it's like, oh, this is cool. Well, I don't get much response from them. Well, you're not getting much response from them because it's not you. It's not authentic.
Yeah.
And you need to have stuff that's authentic to you and your business. So.
Yep. I would totally agree with that. And I used Top Producer at one point, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel authentic because it wasn't my voice. It was a very generic kind of pre-written thing of emails that went out, and I was like, this is dumb. I understand why no one's responding because they probably, if they've ever talked to any other agent, they're probably getting the same exact email from them, and it's just like, why? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't sound like me. I have my own voice when I write, and it's basically how I talk, and I think everyone needs to learn what that is for themselves. But that's why it's so nice being able to get these workflows from someone else that is an agent rather than you guys writing them up. So thank you for
Absolutely. You're welcome. That was something I wanted to make sure was available, because I know in my other systems that I've done before that lacked that, and I knew we needed it. Here's a question, Mark. Is there training sessions that I can take? And there's a couple of different resources I've got on the screen here. Number one, if you've not been to it, go to the go.realvolve.com/training. We've got things on the software. I send out emails on this all the time about learning stuff. There is a section here for building workflows and starting workflows and templates, and you just click on the Get Started. It takes you to that area. There's some videos that you can watch. There's resources. There is one here, this workflow guidebook, and it's 110 pages of explaining what a workflow does. It steps you through it step by step. I mean, this is a.
It's great. I mean, everything's in there. That's what I used, and it really is very detailed.
Yep, and that's what we actually printed off and had in paper format while we were writing all of the templates and stuff, because I think another thing that we did too was we took all of the we made a list of all of the merge codes that we used and described when we were using them. We just put it in a Word document so that we could use the same ones over and over, and we could also quickly go back and go, okay, well, I want to put this person in. What was the merge code for that again? I don't have to think. I just have to look and refer back to that. So the merge codes are powerful. You just got to remember you got to be consistent and remember what exactly you're doing, what you're using.
Yeah. The other resource that we have, if you guys have not been to our YouTube channel, make sure you go to our YouTube channel. We have a ton of videos that you can watch and stuff, but you can also go to the playlists section. Mm-hmm. And in that playlist, we have the workflows to build your business. This was there were 6 webinars that Kendall and I did going over how she built her Digs suite. This past November and December timeframe, we did this, and this was just great. I mean, we kind of took one particular workflow or two and just kind of detailed out what was in it. So if you've not been there, definitely go there. If you, we've got the workflow orientation.
kind of
What was
how I
that?
was explaining how I kind of learned and got the aha moment was doing that exact same thing, dissecting one specific workflow. And since you guys have already done the videos where you're going through exactly what each little piece means, that might teach people a lot. So I'm glad you did that because that's how I learned. That's how my brain worked, learning what a workflow was and how to set it up. And that'll also save people the expense of buying her workflows just to see what the heck's going on. Because I know $600 for something that you don't know what it is a little scary for some people. So
And
that'll
unfortunately, we don't have examples. We're trying to figure out a good way of, showing examples without
giving it away.
giving away. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I mean that's really what it comes down to. If we give you an example of everything, well, then you can copy and paste it, and
Yep.
there was a lot of work put into that. So if especially if they charge for it, we don't want to take that away from them. So
The one thing I would say is that don't worry so much about maybe buying something and then being stuck with it because you can change it. And,
Yeah.
it's just a guideline, it's a baseline. So you don't buy the product and then it's set in stone. And if there's one thing you don't like about it, you can't use it. You can always change it. You can remove steps. You can add things. So that's what's really exciting about it is it's so flexible and you can really do anything you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
right. Wow, we are already 6 minutes past. For those people that need to leave, I get it. You guys can stay if you or go if you need to. We are recording this. If you want to stay, we're going to keep. Christian was said earlier that he does not have a hard stop. I actually did or do. I had another appointment, but this is really important, and I think I'll be forgiven. I hope so. AJ, sorry. Props go out to AJ. Hang with me. We'll get there. Okay. How do you make Zapier workflow start automatically? Okay, let me go to one here. Let's see. Where are we at here? Okay, so just for you guys, is there a particular one that you know that sends out something automatically?
Yeah, the buyers from Yelp/online. I think that one starts automatically.
Okay, so 0 days after start, intro email.
Yeah, the intro email automatically starts the whole process as soon as they fill out the form on my website.
Okay. So here's a particular email that's going to be, it's an activity that is set up to go out. The action on this is, if we click on the action, you'll see just given a title, but it says here, send immediately. And the choices that you have whenever you're doing this is either send manually with a preview, which means before it goes out, you get the opportunity to look at it before it actually goes out. Send manually without preview, which means you have to do it, but it's not going to give you the opportunity to look at it before it goes out. You have to physically hit send before it goes out. There is an automatic option, which means at whatever time, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, if you've got your time set for automatic emails to go out at 8 o'clock every morning, it'll go out at 8 o'clock in the morning. If this particular activity is supposed to go out at 2 o'clock in the evening, if it has a specific time assigned to it, it'll go out at that assigned time. But if there's no time associated to it, it'll just go out at the time that is in your settings emails section at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever time you assign. But the immediate, send immediate, as soon as this activity gets added into the database, just boom, it immediately sends it out and it automatically completes this activity. So it's just an immediate email, and that's how you do it. So you select immediate, you select the email option. You could also send, if you wanted to, you could send an immediate SMS text message. You don't have to do just emails or Twitter messages, and then choose which template. So that's all that you need to do. Now, she also has it set up so that as soon as this particular one comes in, it automatically adds a tag to that contact of Yelp 2016. You might want to change that to 17.
Change that for us.
Yeah,
Yelp
it needs to be Yelp
2017.
2017. Can you update it?
Let's see here.
At the bottom, it's there.
Okay.
But it's so cool that you can do this, and you can know, look up someone's name. Oh, that's who that person is. She saw us on Yelp. She signed up. She was automatically generated. We know where she came from. We know when she signed up.
Yep.
We can see that the email went out. We can see when it went out. We can see if she opened it. We can see if she didn't open it. Like, all of that is there, and that is so cool.
Well, it also, this helps us track where our leads are coming from. So we can do this for anything, really, and we can apply that tag. And then we just did this in, well, the very beginning of January.
Mm-hmm.
We went back and went, okay, well, let's pull up all the tags for Yelp 2016, like you just saw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, how many leads did we get from Yelp in 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And
all
then
right.
how many of those Yelp's 2016 leads, how many worked with us? How many closed the deal?
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to use Realvolve and use Realvolve tags to figure out what percentage of our business is coming from Yelp.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool that Realvolve will do that. That's why I say those tags are great, because you can really use them.
Yeah. There is a question here which you guys can't answer, but I can. The question is there a mobile app yet? And rest assured, it is coming. I'm not really allowed to give you much detail yet, but let me just see if I can get this on here real quick. It is coming. We've been working really hard at trying to get things on there for you. I don't know if you can see that's too much glare.
All I see is white.
Big white. Oh man! And let me see if I can get something. I'm not supposed to tell you this. Let's see if it's
amazing. It looks like a blizzard.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, so it is coming, guys. I've been testing it. Our team's been testing. We've got some really cool stuff coming. So hang tight. We're almost there. That's been
I'm not cool enough to be testing, so just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well, okay. What was the name of Forms program you linked to Zapier? You guys use Google Forms?
No, we use Formable, but there's Gravity Forms.
Formidable.
Yeah, Formidable. There's Gravity Forms. I think I actually use both, depending on where they're coming from. But you look on Zapier, and there's a ton of different connections you can make there.
Mm-hmm.
You can do Google Forms. You can do a ton of stuff. They have probably thousands of different ways you can connect it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Zapier is a separate website altogether. All they do is they're the bridge between different programs that you can use.
Let's see, Form, and there's Google Form. I know Google Forms uses Google Sheets, so you can actually use a Google Sheet on that. But there's lots and lots of different applications that have Zaps, and all these different Zaps allow you to use them in one way or another, typically within Realvolve bringing data and stuff. So
it's an endless stream of things that you could do. It's it's the next level 201 class on that for sure. But once you get the hang of the workflows and stuff, then you can open your brain up to looking at how else you could use Zaps to make it run.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure that if you do Facebook ads, you can have it automatically connect to Realvolve and send an automatic email out, kind of like I do with forms on my website. There's ways that you can attach all that stuff.
Yeah. Here's a question. I had a contract closing on Friday, went through 5 inspection resolution period extensions. How do you handle that in a workflow? Totally messes up a workflow. So you guys might have a better way, but the way I would recommend doing that is having one activity that is nothing more than a checklist, and in that checklist, having the checklist item is inspection resolution or inspection resolution resolved, or something like that, so that if you check it, that activity completes. If it's not checked, then one of the incomplete checklist actions would be to start a resolution workflow. So you could actually start multiple workflows from that. Each time it comes up, was it resolved? No, it wasn't. We'll start another resolution workflow, and it just runs it multiple times.
That happened to us too. We've had deals where we were running a workflow for a buyer 30-day escrow, and it got extended 2 or 3 times. And honestly, the great thing about Realvolve is you're not going to lose the task. It's not going to go away until you've done it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we had a workflow going for a couple that they got extended, and basically you just don't complete the activities until they're complete. You just don't click the box until the form has been submitted. If you're waiting for a Form 17 and it's a week later and you're still waiting for it, it's fine because
it's still there.
Yeah, the activity's not going to go away. It'll just hang out in your dashboard, and you just go in, and for the closing date, you just change the closing date till the new date. You can change it as many times as you want, and just keep a written record of it on the notes on that page. We were extended today. We've got a new closing date of this date. It doesn't actually mess anything up. I mean, your dates might be a little bit messed up, but it doesn't mess up the workflow. The workflow won't fall apart.
Yeah, I won't save this, but I just want to show this. Let's see, that's buyers. This is a contract. Let me pull up one real quick that maybe is your escrow one. So I'm not going to mess with any of these and save them or anything, but just to let you know. Okay, so for a checklist like this, you could put in there bracket, and then put in closing date. So this is a merge field that you're putting into a checklist. You could also put in bracket notes. So here's a case where whenever this activity comes up, the checkbox comes up, it's going to have 2 different fields in there. One is the closing date, and there might also be, was it resolved, or are we ready to continue on, or whatever you want to create this as an activity. But if the closing date is going to change for whatever reason, you could change it right there in that checkbox in the merge field, and then any of the non-completed activities that are still running that are based off of that closing date will automatically adjust and adjust its due dates. So if you have something that's 5 days before a closing date, you can change it in a checklist, and then that checklist would then ultimately change those activities that are based off of that one field.
No, I had no clue you could do that.
I didn't know you could do that, but I'm going to use that now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and we're always learning. I mean, it's working for us right now, but we're always improving it. We're always learning new things.
Getting better.
We're watching the webinars that you guys put on, and we're always taking nuggets away from that stuff because it is so robust. But again, just get started, and then it'll start to free up your mind a little bit. It'll save you so much time and stress. I don't know how many more times I can say that, but it really does help.
Okay. Lillian, I think you may need to put together some kind of fan club, because here's a couple of them. Lillian is so cute. Her energy is contagious, and I need her to come rub off on my assistant, who is 22 years old, my daughter. And then we have another one here. Is Lily interested in co-locating to Canada?
No. See, this is what
it just kind of goes on.
You can hire someone that has the energy, but doesn't have any experience, and that's why this is so awesome.
Okay, this one here, I don't know if this is serious, but Dave Crumby, our CEO, says, can we steal Lillian?
I really want to come meet you guys. I want to come to your office. I want to meet the development team. I want to talk to the people that built it. I really look forward to doing that because you guys have made something that's changed our business, and it's a fantastic tool. We love it.
I should have read this a little bit further. He says, JK, don't ask that. You are contagious, so that's good. Man, I'm not going to be able to get through all these. I mean, I'm sure there's another 50 some odd questions. Guys, we're already 20 minutes over. What I'm going to try to do, I'll try to go through these and try to answer as many as I can offline, and go in there. I hate to use any more time from environment here that we've got is great. I love it all, but I know we've got other things to do. So, Christian, Lillian, thank you so much for joining, for sharing, for doing what you've done, and I appreciate that you've done this. And for those people that are out there, if you guys have a story, and I know I've got a list of people that want to do more of these, so if you've got a story you want to share or things that's happening, if you're willing to share like this, we would love to have you, so make sure that you do that. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and we appreciate it. If people ask, can I pass them your email address and stuff?
Yeah.
Or you want to shoot it out real quick? I mean,
yeah, it's pretty easy. It's Christian@awesomenossum.com.
Christian@awesomenossum.com. Well, guys, thank you again. And if you have anything, if you need anything from us, let us know.
I'm not gonna give out Lillian's because I don't want anyone poaching her away from me. So
that may not be a bad idea. So you keep that one secure. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.